Yeah, I guess we can watch this one. That's a concept. That's a bloody concept. Alright. So why the MLB banned Dwarf from baseball? By baseball doesn't exist. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't understand why they need to be banned. I understand, like, because of their limitation in size and all that, like, I guess they wouldn't be good players against full-sized human being. But you never know, there might be, like, one guy who's just so good that he might be able to make it, so I don't know why they would be banned. Let's find out. Baseball doesn't exist.
In 1951, MLB made a decision that effectively banned little people from playing Major League Baseball, ending the career of a 3'7" dwarf who was on pace to be the most productive player in MLB history. He was the only dwarf to ever play Major League Baseball. He got paid $100, was instructed to jump out of a birthday cake, and was under orders from this man that told him if he swung, he would be murdered. This is Bill Veeck, and he is the reason why MLB banned little people in 1951. Today, this rule may not even be legal thanks to the Americans with Disability Act of 19...
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, there's no way that's a legal rule today. Yeah?
If a team signed a little person today, there's a good chance MLB would have to reverse the ban, and teams and executives have actually debated doing this. In 2009, the York Revolution, an independent minor league team, signed Dave Flood, a 3'2" radio host. They invited him to spring training with a chance to make the team. His job...
I'm trying to think, again, would there be actually an advantage? Like, the pitcher would be very thrown off because compared to, like, a regular sized person, where they basically throw kind of like at a bit of an angle downward, but with a little person, they would have to, like, almost aim for the ground. And, it's not something that they would train on the regular, so they would, like, probably mess up a lot more, right? So maybe even if the little person isn't especially good at, like, batting or something, it would definitely maybe be, like, making the pitcher, like, thrown off enough that they would mess up a lot. Yeah.
Was to go to the plate, stand there, not swing, and see if a pitcher could throw 3 strikes. He went to the plate 4 times, only got walked once, struck out 3 times, and was cut from the team. However, Flood and many other observers blamed the umpire for this result. Understandably, he wasn't used to calling balls and strikes on a strike zone this small, which according to MLB rules is the area over home plate from the midpoint between a batter's shoulders and the top of his uniform pants, and a point just below the kneecap. This is Shohei Ohtani's strike zone. This would be Ohtani's strike zone if he shrunk 3 feet. Some
it's very different.
A zone this small would make throwing a strike impossible, and if Ohtani woke up tomorrow unable to run, unable to field, 200 pounds lighter, and 3 feet shorter, he'd actually be more productive. But in 2014, the Buckingham Bluefish tried this in the Atlantic League, and again, the 4'1" batter struck out, showing that professional pitchers can hit small strike zones. But Bill Veeck had a better idea to make the strike zone even smaller, using a loophole in the rule book. The strike zone isn't created based on a player's height. It's created when the batter is in his stance and prepared to swing at a pitched ball. Meaning, if a 6'7"
a split, that's the solution. Big brain, big brain.
Batter crouched low enough, he could have the same strike zone as a 4-foot batter, as long as this was his natural stance, and he did it every time. So theoretically, if a team hired a dwarf who already had a small strike zone and had him crouch in the box, making his strike zone even smaller, nobody could get him out, as long as there was a team crazy enough to try it. The Yankees did this in the 1920s because a dwarf convinced the team he had mythical powers. He never actually got to play. The team would just rub him for good luck before at-bats. The Athletics had a dwarf for good luck too, and even let him coach first base until the league banned him from coaching first base, and even Pedro Martinez began hanging out with Dominican actor Nelson De La Rosa during the 2004 playoffs because he was convinced he brought him good luck. But none of the following ever got into a game. The only owner crazy...
When it sounds, you could say it's weird to think, like, little people bring you good luck or something. Maybe some weird stereotype in some way, but I guess it's still something a lot more positive, than whatever, like, other treatment they might have gotten. Like, it's a bit weird, sure, but at least it's positive.
Now, to actually try that was Bill Veeck. Veeck was a chain-smoking war veteran who lost his leg in World War II, wore a wooden leg which he used as an ashtray. He was the person who installed the IV at Wrigley Field, invented the take-me-out-to-the-ball-game tradition at Wrigley, and was the first person ever to put players' last names on the back of their jerseys. He would also pull off the most insane stunts possible to get fans into the stadium. He once hired a clown and made him the first base coach until the league got mad and made him stop. He signed a 56-year-old to play for his team so he could claim he had the oldest player of all time. Minnie Minoso did play and became the only player ever to play in 5 different decades. He had a promotion where he gave away 36 lobsters. He had a promotion where fans became the manager for a game. He gave them signs and let them vote on decisions
that's
the
actually
manager
pretty fun.
was supposed to make. He even introduced the
Damn, that's actually really fun. That could be like something way more popular, yeah. Yeah. Some kind of like live gaming where like, you know, everything that happens is based on the audience decision.
first exploding scoreboard, then took this to another level by exploding thousands of disco records on the field in between a doubleheader, which caused thousands to rush the field, causing a riot at the stadium, and they had to cancel the second game. When he managed a team in the minors, he installed a fence that would move back 15 feet every time the opposing team came to the plate, then move 15 feet back in when his team came to the plate. But his most infamous move was when he broke baseball by putting a dwarf on his team. Veeck was doing a promotion and wanted to add a surprise that stirred up publicity for his team and sponsors, so he hired Eddie Goodell.
So it was just for publicity,
$100, which was the minimum required payment for a dwarf act at the time. Then bought a cake to have Goodell jump out of. According to Veeck, the cake cost more than it cost to hire Eddie Goodell. He strategically mailed Goodell's contract to the league headquarters on a Saturday. Since they wouldn't see it until Monday, they had no chance to void the contract, officially making Goodell a major leaguer. Veeck had him crouch down in a stance that made his strike zone an inch-and-a-half tall, and told him he was going to be on the roof of the stadium with a high-powered rifle, and if he even looked like he was going to swing, he was going to shoot him dead. Goodell, wearing number 180, climbed out of a birthday cake in between the doubleheader. Apparently nervous by the large crowd, told Veeck he didn't want to bat.
I mean, nervous that someone told him he was gonna shoot him. I'd be nervous too, a little bit. Oh, some crickets. Enjoy.
Anymore. Veeck then threatened to kill him again. In the first inning, Goodell pinch hit, and to everyone's surprise, a dwarf was at the plate. He walked on 4 straight pitches, went to first base, immediately got a pinch runner, and exited the game to a massive applause and laughter. Goodell instantly became known across the country and booked somewhere from $60,000 to $120,000 worth of bookings in today's dollars within a week of the stunt. A week later, he was arrested for public intoxication and told the police he was a professional baseball player. Veeck would keep hiring him and once booked him to dress up as a Martian, invade the field, and abduct 2 players in another stunt years later. Goodell tragically passed away a decade later after getting beat up on the street while leaving a bowling alley and never got the chance to hit again. Because the day after the stunt, the American League voided his contract, and MLB made a new rule that required the league president to approve each contract before a player enters a game, effectively banning little people from playing Major League Baseball. 50 years later, Commissioner Bud Selig doubled down on the ban, saying, quote, "It turned the game into a farce." But how effective would a team of little people actually be? Assuming,
I mean, a team of it wouldn't be, because it only works if it's one guy. Again, most of the pitchers are probably not trained to hit the extremely small strike zone, so they would mess up. But if it was a whole team, they would train for that, and then they'd probably be fine, right? It only works with, like, if it's one person doing it, yeah.
The little person would be ineffective in the field and on the base pass. They would only be able to hit once per game, then be subbed out for a runner. According to calculations done by Nate Silver, if a little person led the game off with a walk, he would increase his team's winning odds by 4.6%. If he did this every single game, he would be worth somewhere between 7 to 8 wins. Last season, that would have made him the 4th most productive position player in baseball by WAR. But that's assuming he would get walked every time. The last 2 times,
which again, like, the pitcher would just adjust, I mean.
Times people have tried this resulted in the little people striking out. It's clear some pitchers would still hit the strike zone. According to baseball statistician Tom Tango, a walk is worth 0.03 wins, and an out is worth negative 0.027 wins. So for a little person who can only walk or get out and cannot field or run, he would need an on-base percentage of 530 to be an average yet serviceable MLB player. The question is, could MLB players strike them out more than 50% of the time? Major leaguers like Francisco Rodriguez don't think so, saying he'd rather throw to Babe Ruth than a little person. A former general manager for the Astros doubted they could, saying if he was still a GM and MLB lifted the ban, he'd be willing to sign a little person. And author Todd Gallagher assembled an entire team of little people to face former major leaguer Dana Keuchel. He walked the first 5 batters in a row, ended up walking 7 of the 10 batters he faced, gave up 4 runs, left the game, and the team of little people finished with an on-base percentage of 700. If a little person could consistently get walked at this rate, they would be the most effective pinch hitter in the game, and all it would take is someone like Bill Veeck with the balls to challenge MLB and try it.
Yeah, but again, I feel like, you know, the like eventually, if it became really a thing, like many of the pitchers would adjust their training to be able to actually like strike in that small strike zone, knowing that they very likely have no need to worry about like the batter hitting. So I feel like they could just adapt. No, I mean, it's an interesting thought though. It's a very interesting thought. I'm definitely all for sports being like very inclusive, but yeah, I don't think like it needs to be banned. I do think that, you know, again, it'd be interesting right now if like some guy, you know, like a little person wants to be a player and one of the team actually wants to try it out. I think it should be done. Like, I mean, you know, it's interesting in concept. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting in concept, and again, then see what happens. I don't know. I don't think it should be banned. Definitely not, yeah. Definitely not. Okay, very interesting, very insane. I mean, every MLB video we watch, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I just, like, I'm sure every sports have like some weird story to an extent, but man, like, still insane. The MLB, every story we've seen is like beyond insane. Yeah. Maybe baseball doesn't exist, like, you know, really takes just the craziest story, but still, they're far more crazier than crazy. It's just insanity. But very entertaining, yeah. Insane stuff. Okay, well, that was a good last video to end on. I mean, I don't even know what to say beyond that, just what? Anyway, good stream.